So I'm 7 weeks out from the UKBFF British finals now, and not a lot's changed this week, and I haven't actually stepped on the scales this week either. So I'm not quite sure where my weight is, but I can tell from looking at myself I look a little bit watery, and that's probably because I've been a little bit stressed this week, just with working slightly longer hours, trying to balance Finley starting school as well, and it's led to late nights and more stress. And when we're stressed, our bodies start to release a hormone called cortisol from our adrenal glands, and cortisol acts in a number of ways in the body, and it's completely natural, and it's there to benefit us and it's there to help us. But it's when we're chronically stressed, when we're stressed over a long period of time, that it starts to become kind of detrimental, and it's definitely not beneficial for people that are trying to maintain a lean physique or trying to lose a bit of body fat, and that's because when we release cortisol into our body kind of goes into this fight or flight mode, and it starts to increase our blood sugar levels to make more energy available for us to use, and this energy will come from the glycogen in our muscles, that's kind of our stored carbohydrates, but also our amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein from our muscles as well, will be broken down to give us this rise in blood glucose. So not only would higher stress levels, so high levels of cortisol, mean that we start to break down our lean body mass, which in turn leads to a decreased metabolism, and therefore it makes it easier for us to put on fat or gain fat, but also with high blood glucose levels, it's very difficult for the body to start using fat as energy, because it's already got available energy in the form of glucose in our blood. Stress also leads to a decreased immunity. The cortisol decreases our white blood cells, and therefore we're not as able to fight infections quite so easily. So you often hear if people are quite stressed, they might say they're feeling a bit run down, they might find it easier to pick up colds and viruses, and that's because cortisol decreases our white blood cells and sort of acts as an anti-inflammatory and decreases the amount of histamines in our blood as well. And then thirdly, cortisol acts on our kidneys, and it sort of acts as a detoxifier, and it actually leads to water retention. So that's the reason why I haven't weighed myself this week, because if I stand on the scales and I've gone up a drastic amount, I don't want it to have any negative impact psychologically on my prep, because I know I've been a little bit stressed, and I can see that I am holding a little bit more water. I thought about starting some cardio this week, but I haven't had time to do it, and I don't feel the need that I need to do it yet. Again, I don't want to do anything like putting any cardio in until sort of use it as a very last resort in terms of getting lean. I'd rather do it through dietary manipulation, changing my resistance training workouts as well. So the past 2 days I've started a new kind of training cycle, which has been my high rep low rest cycle, which I actually really struggle with. Even though I have done endurance events in the past, I've run a marathon and I've done some long distance cycle rides, I do struggle with doing really high rep workouts, and it exhausts me afterwards, and I do find I need to eat some more, a high amount of carbs after those workouts. So I did a high rep leg workout yesterday, and a high rep back workout the day before, and today's been a rest day, and so will tomorrow be. And that's something that I've done differently in this prep than in my prep before. I've always made sure I have 2 rest days, because I'm training harder. I feel like my body does sort of need that break. Sorry, and don't do that, please. And I found I've started to put in a really high carb day every week that I put in the same sort of, it'll probably be on a Sunday, and that will obviously increase my calories as well, but I'll be keeping my fats and my protein relatively low, just to make sure that I'm not losing any of the lean mass that I've sort of gained over the past few months, and it will refuel my glycogen stores and just make sure that I've got enough to kind of keep me going and get as strong as possible, as I'm still looking to try and increase my strength throughout the last few weeks of prep as well. I don't want my strength to drop at all. In terms of my diet, things have kind of kept very similar. I'm just listening to my body. I have found recently that I'm especially with the high rep workouts, that I need more carbs, so I'm listening to that. We've been experimenting in the kitchen, making some different sort of protein bars, things like that, so I post the recipes for them up. As I've always said, I think it's really important to teach everyone, young people, old people, middle-aged people, about the importance of eating well. So one thing that we always do, is when we're cooking, we talk about the different types of foods. My hands are cold, sorry. And so we teach about... I think I'm gonna go up in the room. Okay. So I teach him about the carbohydrates and fats and proteins, the importance of them in the diet. And I really recommend that to anyone with kids as well. I'll see you. Finley? Yes? Do you want to come and talk a minute? Really quickly? Come and sit here a minute. Tell everyone, what do carbohydrates do? What do they give you?
Energy.
Okay, so carbohydrates give you energy. And what about proteins? Make you big and
strong.
Yeah. And what about dairy?
Teeth.
What do they do? Teeth strong. And what about fats?
Make clever.
Make you clever. And what about fruit and vegetables?
Start getting poorly.
Stop you getting poorly. What about the little section of treat foods? Like crisps or something like that.
If you eat lots, you get very full. But if you eat a little bit, you'll be fine.
Yeah, good boy. You can go play now.
Yes!
So we kind of keep things really basic, but he always touches the food, smells the food, and puts it into cooking. And it's really important to make it fun as well. And I give him a picture shopping list when we go shopping and things like that, for him to join in with the shopping, with the cooking. And he's not he doesn't really enjoy eating that much, so we have to make it as fun as we possibly can be. So he's obviously really helpful in terms of my prep. He's a bit of a motivator and keeps me going, make sure I don't go off track. In terms of next week, I'm not going to start cardio yet. I'm still going to focus on building up. I still want to work on my shoulders a little bit more. Starting to look a little bit unproportioned. My lower body is much more developed than my upper body. So maybe I'll start going a little bit easier on my legs, as much as I hate to say that. In order to look balanced on stage, I think I need to work my upper body slightly more. This is my nutrition. Again, nothing will be changing other than that I am going to put in one really, really high carb day. And I would say on that day I would have about 3,000 to 3,500 calories, with about 60-70% of that coming from carbohydrates. Again, it's something that I have tried in the past and it's worked quite well, and I want to try it again in terms of keeping my strength, keeping that lean muscle mass, but also trying to maintain that sort of lean physique. I'll probably get my body fat tested again maybe next week or the week after, just to make sure that it's kind of staying on track. I don't want to be too lean yet, as I came in too lean before. And one thing I've noticed with having more fats and more carbohydrates in my diet than before is that my face has stayed relatively full, and before it was really sucked in. I didn't really look like me. So that's something that I can tell whether I'm eating the right foods, and my eyes got really sunken in and I looked really tired all the time, and I haven't really found that during this prep at all, which is really good. Other than that, I've got 3 more high rep training workouts, which I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I never start a new workout routine, never start a new type of diet on a Monday. I just think it psychologically, it's always kind of the whole thing, oh, the new diet starts on a Monday. If you just scrap that and start it on a Wednesday or something like that, it just ensures there's a more positive outcome, and I always suggest that to sort of my clients as well. And in terms of that, that's about where I'm at the moment. I'm going to start doing maybe a little bit of posing practice this week. Obviously I haven't been on stage since April, May time, and that was my first sort of like a season as a competitor, so I was fairly nervous, and I haven't been on stage before that since I danced, and I stopped dancing when I was about 12, so it has been a long while. So I think getting a bit of stage confidence again will be really beneficial. And obviously this week, working on trying to get a little bit more sleep, as that's so important. And I found that this week that I haven't had as much sleep. I have struggled a bit more with my moods, and obviously I'm going to try and make time to take half an hour to relax every day as well. I think that's really important. But until next time, that's kind of where I'm at.